What is up, everybody? It is me, DevilNeverCry, and today I bring you a no damage S rank run of the DMC5 demo. Now this is going to be a little bit different than the videos I've previously made, where they're sort of short, to the point and concise. This requires a lot of attention, so this is going to be a longer video. Of course, I'm going to be commentating the entire run. This is my own run, by the way. This is my gameplay you're seeing. So without further ado, let's dive right in. First and foremost, the S rank run requires you to be rather fast, and it requires you to get some stylish play in, of course. However, considering this is going to be a no damage run, it's going to add a 1.5 times multiplier to my final score, so that's going to help. That means I can sort of waste a bit of time, play not as stylishly as I need to, because again, there's going to be a 1.5 times multiplier, and that's pretty huge, let's be honest. But getting into this first encounter, pretty simple. These enemies pose no threat as long as you're on your toes, so make sure that you vary up your moves, make sure that things don't get too stale. If you want to raise your star rank super fast, super high, make sure to use moves that hit multiple enemies at once. For example, streak into a crowd of enemies, or use Overture's battery move in a crowd of enemies, and your style rank will shoot up. Again, I'm just in with the air combat here. Simple standard stuff as we're on a triple S rank, smoking sexy style as they say, and this is going to be at the end of the first encounter coming up. I am going to get the optional encounters done, simply because the first time I S ranked this, that was what I did, and I'm just going to do what works, or what I know works, to be honest. I initially wasn't planning on this being a no damage S rank run, but halfway through I was like, you know, I could probably go for this, considering that I've put a ridiculous amount of hours into this. But when you get to here, immediately rush this one enemy. It's the enemy that has hyper armor and runs away, doesn't get staggered through all your attacks, and considering there's other enemies about, as I miss a breakage grab there, it makes it hard to focus on the enemy, which is rather annoying considering how fast he runs. But at the same time, his health isn't that high and he poses no threat. He just likes to try and escape, so you got to knock him out of the escape animation. Then he drops a large amount of red orbs as the enemies explode, because that was the Overture's exploder breakage move as I taunt. And we're back on our way. I'll be grabbing most of the orb caches I see. I won't be picking up any of the hidden ones, simply because that would take too much time. There's certain spots you can stand in, which, you know, if you wait there long enough, they will give you a decent amount of orbs, to be honest. But we pick up the punchline and we immediately charge its breakage move, Boost Knuckle, because I have no patience with dealing with this enemy. That was another one of those hyper-armored, sort of high orb count enemies. We find the secret room here, which isn't a secret anymore at this point. Somebody's living room or bedroom, I'd imagine. And we move on. I decide to take on these tentacles. Not sure I need to be honest, but considering their hair, why not? Anything counts, right, in terms of the style points. But again, you can't really work up to anything too high, considering their health is quite low, as you see me mess about and waste time. This isn't an optimized run, but hey, as I said, this wasn't initially supposed to be a no damage S rank run. We move on to my favorite encounter of the demo though, which is the Hellcana fight in the courtyard with the crazy flying horse statue. Now, obviously, this is a favorite of the demo, considering that you're in a large open arena and these enemies have a high amount of health, should I say. So it's good to experiment with. However, you must be careful with these enemies, because they're not like the sort of insect-like Empusa enemies, I believe that's what they're called. These enemies do actually pose a threat. If you're not careful, they will blindside you with that scythe of theirs, and yeah, they'll take a chunk out of you, which isn't fun. But as long as you stay on your toes, keep in the air. You see me do the air taunt there. Speaking of the air taunt, you can exceed it. It does have iframes, and of course, it does get you out of harm's way, should I say. So use it if you will. If you want to do the floor is lava kind of run where you don't touch the floor, It's a move that's invaluable, but we're on the last enemy of this encounter as I mess about here. Still with the S rank though, so it's not like I'm scrubbing it up. This is a taunt for Nero that you can exceed as we finish on a level 2 exceed high roller. But that is that, with just over 5k startage points as we move on to the hotel. Pick up the Gerbera arm here because you're going to need it as we hit this load screen. What you want to do is immediately charge the breakage move and let go of it in mid-air. Don't do it on the floor because you'll be stuck in the laser animation and these enemies will blindside you. But as you can see here, I just wait for them to spawn in, to be honest, jump and then let go of it. And it will clear the room immediately, or it will clear the first spawn of enemies, should I say, because there are 2 spawns. And here is the second spawn that's come in. I could have used my other Gerbera arm and done the same thing, but I didn't realize that there would be another arm in the courtyard coming up. Or shall I say I forgot. But these enemies don't pose a threat at this point, considering I've put a ridiculous... well, I would say a ridiculous amount of time, but I know there's people out there who've put far more than I have in. But as long as you, again, stay on your toes, which is sort of key to a run like this, you'll be fine. I mean, I'm prioritizing taking no damage than keeping my style rank high, as I miss or I whiff with my charged shuffle. But that was the final enemy of that encounter. As we move on, and it pans up to the giant Cleforth tree, which apparently Nero is sick of, as he says. There's the Gerbera arm on the left. Pick that up, and then I'm going to pick up this orb cache on the right. Again, I'm not too sure on how orbs impact your final rank, but I decided to pick them up anyway because they're there, and they won't take enough. Well, they won't take a lot of time just to pick them up. This is a skippable spawn, but I again decide to go through with it. I mean, these enemies are super easy, you know. Like tissue paper, they just crumble apart super fast. So we're on that A for apocalyptic rank, and they're done. I didn't even realize. But we pick up this orb cache, and we move on our way. Now we have to pick up this key item. We're coming up on a mini spawn, which again you can skip, but I decide not to. There's an overture arm there on the right, but one charge shot and a level 2 streak completely decimates them. As we move on and we try to pick up the Nidhogg hatchling, and then we streak our way onwards. I mean, this reminds me of the first game where you had to Stinger everywhere because running was simply too slow. Stinger level 2, by the way, not Stinger level 1, because, yeah. Well, we miss the 2 orb caches on the left, but fret not, they don't matter as we head on over to Nico's van. Not before picking up this orb cache. Considering I have full health, it just gives me a bunch of orbs. Skip the cutscene, and Nico's here. I'm waiting for the prompt to enter to show up, but it just doesn't. I accidentally jump on the van instead, but in we go. Now let's discuss my final loadout for the Goliath. I initially want to place a punchline in the first slot, followed by 3 Gerbera arms, which is gonna be evident as to why I do it pretty soon. I initially think about putting an overture in there, but I decide against it, just because I wasn't sort of comfortable with the breakage move, just because I'd rather use the Gerbera arm, because if I decide to bail on using a breakage move, it's very easy. But that is the final loadout. We quit the customization and hit another load screen, unfortunately, but we're there soon as the game begins to save. So, going into the encounter, you want to make sure you have everything charged up. Make sure you have everything, well, yeah, the red queen exceeded. Make sure you have the blue rose charged to the fullest. So, my initial strategy here is to immediately charge the punchline. You're going to be staggered by some wind pressure coming off Goliath here, but immediately charge it up. Double jump as soon as it charges, let go, and you'll slam the Goliath into the ground. At this point, you want to make sure that you stay in the air, and you want to make sure that while you have the Gerbera arm equipped, because it's going to be invaluable in not taking any damage. Make sure to use the snatch maneuver quite a lot to get yourself back in the zone, shall we say. As we fall here into the cathedral, I'm immediately charging another Gerbera breakage, and I let that go. That wasn't enough, so I charge up the other one. Be careful, because he does throw that, he doesn't just swing it. And that immediately just shreds away a lot of his health. Now, you want to be careful, you want to run immediately as the wall breaks here, because the move he does is super difficult to dodge, and it will ruin your no damage run, as it did initially with my first playthrough of this demo back at the London event, shall we say. But I've got the Overture charged here, waiting for him to come out so I can just plant it in his head and just fire away. Now it's all about chip damage, shall we say. So I've got the Blue Rose charged, and I'm just getting in. I'm not doing full combos here, guys. I'm just getting a few pot shots in and then getting out. This move is an AoE which has a large area of effect, larger than you think, actually. But anytime you see him charge, stay well away from his attacks. At the same time, do not stray too far from the Goliath, otherwise he'll start throwing projectiles and he'll start doing charge moves which are annoying to deal with, to say the least. So that's why I like to stay close. I like to stay behind him. The Gerbera arm has a good amount of iframes, a good amount of mobility, which can afford me to do this. He jumps over here and I'm like, sod it. We're going to pick up this second arm and we're going to use a breakage move. He almost hits me with that chunk of rock. Thankfully he misses because his aim is awful. He's got that D rank aim. But as you can see, I'm all about chipping damage out, going back in when I need to and going back out when I have to. It's a test of patience, people. One hit can ruin the entire rank, but he's staggered here, and that's when I begin to charge up this arm. And point blank, it does a good amount of damage, shall we say. But that is the boss done. As you can see, Gerbera is my favorite for a reason. I don't skip this initially, even though I probably should, but we finish with just underneath 6k stylish points. The boss takes some time. You know, just have patience with this. It's not going to come super fast, but there you go, 1.5 multiplier with no damage, 8.7k stylish points in total red orbs of 15k, and that is my S rank run. I hope this helps. Do let me know if you decide to take on the no damage S rank run, because it is a challenging run, shall we say. I think the next thing I'll be doing is probably a no arm S rank, no damage run. I think that's going to be the hardest thing we can get out of this demo, but subscribe if you liked what you saw, as there is more DMC5 videos and tutorials on the way. With that said and done, it's been me, DevilNeverCry. I would like to thank you for watching, and as always, I'll see you next video.